Watch a dog around water long enough and you'll catch it doing something almost defiant. It finds the worst puddle around, stagnant, green, been sitting there since last week's rain, and it drinks like it's nothing. 10 minutes later, it's fine. Chasing a squirrel, trying to lick your face. If you drank that same water, you'd be down for a week. So, what's actually different? It's not one trick. It's a stack of defenses built over millions of years. And it's not just dogs, cats, horses, wolves, even birds that eat rotting meat for a living run some version of the same system. Quick correction before we go further. Animals do get sick from bad water regularly. You just don't see it. A sick wild animal doesn't collapse in the open. It disappears into cover and either recovers there or doesn't, off camera. So, when a lion strolls away from a swamp looking invincible, you're watching a survivor, not proof of immunity. Every animal that lost that gamble is already gone. But the survival odds really are dramatically better than yours would be. And the reasons are specific. Start with acid. Human stomach acid sits around pH 1.5 to 3.5. Dogs run consistently more acidic, often pH 1 to 2. Because the pH scale is logarithmic, that's roughly 10 times harsher. Acidic enough to break down bone. It's part of why a dog can eat a raw carcass that would hospitalize you. For comparison, vultures push this even further. Their stomach acid measures around pH 1, strong enough to destroy the anthrax and botulism bacteria in the rotting meat they eat every day. On top of the acid, there's speed. A dog's short gut moves food through in roughly 6 to 8 hours versus 1 to 3 days for a human. Bacteria need time to multiply. In a dog, that window barely exists. The defense actually starts before anything is even swallowed. Dog saliva carries lysozyme, which physically breaks apart bacterial cell walls, plus lactoferrin, which locks up the iron bacteria need to survive, plus antibodies patrolling the mouth in real time. None of this sterilizes the water, but it's already being processed before it reaches the stomach. Cats run a nearly identical chemistry, which is part of why they groom constantly, up to half their waking hours, reapplying that antimicrobial layer with every lick. Horses take a different route. Volume. Up to 10 liters of saliva a day, produced just from chewing forage, physically dilutes and flushes pathogens before they ever reach the stomach. The deepest layer is the microbiome, the resident population of bacteria in every animal's gut, shaped by that individual's own exposure over a lifetime. A dog that drinks from the same creek repeatedly builds up an immune system and gut flora that recognize the local bacteria on contact. It's not immunity, exactly. It's familiarity, earned through repeated exposure. That's also why a dog raised entirely on filtered tap water isn't automatically safe drinking from a random outdoor source. Its microbiome was never trained on that particular water. The defense is real, but it's local, and it has to be earned. Horses solve this a completely different way. Their hindgut fermenters, most digestion happens not in the stomach, but later, in the cecum, which alone can hold around 30 liters and packs in thousands of competing bacterial species. Incoming pathogens don't land in empty space. They land in an ecosystem that's already claimed every niche and gets crowded out by sheer numbers. The trade-off, that density, makes horses unusually sensitive to sudden diet changes or antibiotics, which can destabilize the whole system and cause serious illness like colic. Humans used to be closer to this than you'd think. For most of history, people drank straight from rivers and wells, and waterborne disease was a leading killer. But populations survived it generation after generation, building some local tolerance. You can still see the trace of this today. Travelers who visit a new region often get sick from water the local population drinks without issue. Same familiarity effect, just running in humans. But broadly, we solved this problem differently. with fire, cooking, and eventually water treatment, externalizing the filtration instead of hardening our biology. It worked spectacularly, saving hundreds of millions of lives. The trade off, sometimes called the hygiene hypothesis, is that our stomach acid and microbiomes are comparatively untrained because we deliberately reduced our own exposure to begin with. So, next time your dog drains a puddle that looks condemned by the health department, saliva hits first, then acid strong enough to dissolve bone, then a gut moving too fast for bacteria to settle, sitting on top of an immune system trained specifically on that dog's own patch of the world. Animals aren't immune to dirty water, they're built for it. That puddle was never a real fight.